Hey there, Bill O'Leary. Today, I'm going to answer the question, how much does estate planning cost? It's a very good question, and it's a common question. And so I'm going to talk about the cost of estate planning. Let me first, real quick, if I can, introduce myself. I am an experienced estate planning and elder law attorney in Jacksonville, Florida. My firm is Legacy Planning Law Group. We focus on just a few areas of the law. Number one, estate planning, things like wills, trusts, estates, powers of attorney, and the like. Number two, elder law, which in effect is estate planning for our seniors. And then number three, probate, estate administration, helping a family whose loved one just recently passed away and may or may not have planned as well as they could have. So we help them navigate that court process. So back to the question at hand. Look, if you don't have a will, or maybe if you do, but it's kind of old, you may be asking yourself, gosh, how much does estate planning cost these days? And it's kind of hard to figure out. It's not like shopping for shoes. It's kind of hard to figure out online. So let me first say, yes, you can try it yourself. There are what are called DIY providers, do it yourself. LegalZoom advertises a lot. I'm sure you know of them, but be careful of the DIY services. They often will give a false sense of security, which may end up costing you and your family more in the end. The legal system, for good or bad, it's a sophisticated sort of web of very complicated estate planning laws that can be hard to understand. So having a lawyer navigate those can help avoid any mistakes or loopholes that might be inadvertently created if you try doing it yourself. So yes, hiring a lawyer may cost you a little bit more at the front end, but I can tell you, it can save you and your heirs a lot of money and frankly, a lot of potential heartaches at the back end down the road by sparing them, let's say, having to slog through that court process that we call probate. Now, please understand, estate planning is not just for the rich and famous. So even if you don't have a seven-figure net worth, maybe you don't even own a home, don't have, let's say, kids that are dependent on you, minors living in the house, you still need planning. So at its basic level, estate planning basically is putting in place a set of legal documents that will spell out exactly what will happen if, number one, you become incapacitated, you can't manage your affairs anymore, and number two, when you pass away. So back to the cost. Well, I tell people it depends, and because it truly is a function of each person's unique situation. So I'll often give a range, right? So I'll say it could cost anywhere from, at the low end, zero, because we find out that everything is all sort of lined up and taken care of. And on the high end, it costs up to $10,000 or so. Although I do tell people, don't worry. Most people are not at that high end. In fact, I find most people sort of fall somewhere in the middle, maybe even a little bit below that midpoint range. So, a strong piece of advice for you: be cautious. Be cautious of who? Be cautious of the attorney at the very high end. Okay. At that $10,000 range, there may be a reason that they're there, and it may not be in your best interest. But on the flip side, be just as cautious, may in fact be especially wary of the attorney at the very low end. There's probably a reason why that lawyer is at the bottom of the range. Maybe they're young and inexperienced, and boy, they just need your fee to keep the lights on. Or maybe they just do fill in the blank wills, really simple stuff. And they can almost give that away for free. Remember, as with anything, the cheapest option is often not the best option. Finding an attorney, frankly, that sort of is right in the middle is the safest way to go. And I often tell people, we're not the most expensive in town, but nor are we the cheapest. We're sort of right in the middle, which is exactly where I want to be. There is a peace of mind knowing that you have an experienced lawyer that prepares your estate plan, and so that you can sleep well at night knowing that things got done right, and you won't end up being a statistic like the horror stories where an online will sort of blows up and goes terribly wrong after death, and the family ends up slogging through the probate court and maybe even fighting amongst themselves. That is a statistic. So there is also no such thing as a one-size-fits-all estate plan. The legal documents you put in place are a personal decision based on what you need for yourself and your family. And the decisions you make today, remember, they may change as you age and experience different life events and as you build assets. So you want all the decisions that you make today to be able to hold up in the future. Let's say if it ends up in the probate court with an incapacitating illness or at your death. So unless you're single without children and have very few assets, the DIY route is very risky. When you have a fair bit of means, if you've got kids or complex family situations, I don't recommend it going the DIY route. You do need a more comprehensive estate plan. So trying to save money that results in setting up an improper estate plan that doesn't protect you or your loved ones could end up really being a devastating financial decision. So do your family a favor. Don't stick them with the costly and time-consuming mess at the back end because you skimped and wanted to save a few bucks at the front end. That's why asking how much estate planning costs, while it's a fair question, only gives you part of the picture. To get a complete picture, you should also ask the question, how much does no planning cost or bad planning cost? How much does that cost my family at the back end? It often is a whole lot more than it is on the front end. So to get a complete picture, you should ask both questions: the cost of planning now versus the cost of doing no planning. And that way, asking both questions and having a complete picture will allow you to make an informed decision on whether to undertake estate planning now. While estate planning can seem expensive, planning your estate now, I can tell you, can help your loved ones more easily navigate that legal process of probate and avoid family conflicts, including legal battles in the future. For you history buffs, Benjamin Franklin was quoted as saying, "An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure." So if you'd like to know more about how much estate planning costs and maybe how much we can help, we would love to talk to you. So to make it easy, we encourage you to take a very tiny first step by having a free 15-minute phone call with us. We call it our discovery phone call. And it's a chance for you to tell us what's on your mind. And that way we can sort of start to feel each other out, whether we would work well with each other. So scheduling the call is easy. Just go to our website, legacyplanninglawgroup.com, and click on, it's very visible, the book your free call button. It's a blue button, I believe. And once you do, it'll take you straight to our booking calendar. Just pick the date and time that works best for you. So this is Bill O'Leary signing off for now. And until we see each other again, go make it a great day and go make it a better world.